to fear is
In war, there is no substitute for victory.
Let us never negotiate out of fear.
We stand undivided, forever united, fighting hand in hand for the liberty we've earned, for glory and honor, for our sons and daughters, ever mindful of the lessons we've learned. Let the torch of freedom burn.
Welcome to the intersection of faith and politics. This is WallBuilders Live with David Barton and Rick Green. Thank you for joining us today. Visit our websites at wallbuilders.com and wallbuilderslive.com. We're looking at things from a biblical and a historical perspective. So, David, I got a question for you from a historical perspective. What are the indicators, kind of the mile markers, for how we tell if the country's headed the right direction?
Well, Founding Fathers gave us pretty clear markers. Sam Adams said he thought he could tell whether the nation was going up or down by simply looking at the manners of the young people in that nation, how they behaved, how they acted. And by the way, Noah Webster, Founding Father, defined manners in his original dictionary this way: is civility, decent and respectful deportment or behavior. So decent and respectful behavior, simply looking at civility and decent and respectful behavior in youth, told you whether the nation was headed up or down. So when you use that standard, and by the way, here's a quote from John Witherspoon, signer of the Declaration. He says, "Nothing is more certain than that a general corruption of manners makes a people ripe for destruction." And manners are very simple things. You know, thank you, and yes, ma'am, and no, sir, and let me open the door for you, and let me pull out your chair. And that causes you to think about all sorts of other people other than yourself. So that's significant stuff. John Hancock said, "Manners, by which not only the freedom but the very existence of republics are greatly affected, manners depend much on the public institutions of religion." So manners is big, and they see manners as coming from basic moral teachings, religious teachings. And, of course, folks like Robert Treat Paine, signer of the Declaration, he said, "I believe the Bible to be the written word of God and to contain in it the whole rule of faith and manners, not just what you believe, but how you behave." So for the founders, it was pretty easy. If you're seeing good manners in young people, we're headed in a good direction. If you're not seeing good manners in young people, we're ripe for destruction. And that's why books like George Washington's Rules on Civility, great book that he did, 110 Rules on Civility, that's such significant stuff. And, of course, we cover a lot of this in Founders Bible as well. But the answer to your question is manners.
Well, we're going to talk today about how to restore that, and it begins with the little ones. I guess we all have some room to learn there, but certainly begins with the little ones. And we have a guest today that has a new book that is out for our little ones and teaching them principles, patriotism being the principle that is taught in this first book, but also has a program and a curriculum that's used in schools across the country, returning us to that place of manners. Stay with us. Jill Garner, our guest, when we return right here on WallBuilders Live.
Hi, this is Tim Barton with WallBuilders, and I want to encourage all the pastors out there with the unique opportunity that we're presenting at WallBuilders. We're doing a special tour just for pastors that you can come and learn more about the spiritual heritage of our nation. Not just seeing the sites, but understanding the significance of what they are and what they represent. We get to go through the Capitol at night, and we get to see the spiritual heritage of our founding fathers, of who we are as a nation, where we came from. We bring in congressmen that'll tell you about current legislation, about our religious liberties and freedom, and what's going on in Washington, D.C. If you're a pastor, or if you want to recommend your pastor for this trip, you can go to our website, www.wallbuilders.com, and there's a link that's for scheduling. If you click on that link, there's a section for pastor's briefing. There's more information about the dates, when it's going, how it's going to happen. If you want to know more about our nation, our religious liberties, our freedom, our spiritual heritage, this is a trip you want to be a part of.
Let the torch of freedom burn.
Welcome back to the intersection of faith and politics. WallBuilders Live with David Barton and Rick Green. Thanks for staying with us. Our guest today is Jill Garner. She's the founder of the nonprofit Manners of the Heart. They rebuild respect and civility in our society through heart education. Now, catch that, folks, heart education for schools, homes, and businesses. New book out that we want to get in your hands so you can get it in the hands of your little ones. Little Patriot with a Big Heart. Jill, God bless you for what you're doing, and thanks for coming on to talk about the new book.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having us on today.
So this book is part of the Maryville Stories, which have actually been part of your curriculum you've been doing in schools for a while now.
Yes, it is. I found it Manners of the Heart almost 15 years ago now. Time flies. And as you mentioned, to rebuild respect and civility in our society. And in our elementary curriculum, it's pre-K to 5th grade, and it's a full year-long curriculum, and we instill respectfulness and responsibility and in children, starting in the elementary grades, which, as you mentioned, we call heart education. It's far beyond character education. It's really going much deeper. We really work on the attitudes behind the actions, because we know, as Scripture teaches, that it's as our second graders say, their paraphrase of Scripture is, it's what's in the heart that comes out the mouth. Is what our kids know, and so that's where we get in and work in their hearts. And at the end of the year, every year, when we do a survey with our students and ask, what is your favorite part of Manners of the Heart, resoundingly, the answer has been, the last 3 or 4 years, the stories, the Maryville stories. So we finally took that as a sign that it was time to pull those stories out and put them into book form.
I love it. So the curriculum itself, I mean, you're in schools, I guess, across the country. Is that how that works?
Yes, we're in schools all across the country, and actually in 5 different countries now as well. And the curriculum is a 5-day-a-week curriculum. There's a core lesson that's presented, like a 20-minute lesson that's presented in all grade levels, as I mentioned, from pre-K to 5, using the same big idea each week, and then each lesson has a different skill and objective for the different grade levels. And then during the week, the other 4 days of the week, the teachers do reinforcements of that initial lesson, as well as the home connection piece that's so critically important and such an important part of what we do. And we reach back into the home as well. And the home is given lessons to do at home that reinforce the lesson being taught at school. You know, it used to be we were all on the same page.
That's right.
Many years ago, right? Probably 40 years ago now. And, you didn't have to worry too much that the school was teaching the same thing you were teaching at the home and vice versa. And, of course, we know in our very confused world today that's not the case. And so we're trying to help get everyone back on the same page and focused on helping those children grow up and become all that God created them to be.
Well, before we dive into the book itself, just want to give people the website, mannersoftheheart.org. You can go there to find out more about the education piece and the curriculum. And I gotta throw this out there, Jill, because people are always saying, how can we make things better? I even have people say it's too late. We've lost respect in our society and all those things. I'm not a pessimist like that. I think you can change it if you get the right principles in. And just looking at the results whenever your program is implemented, 44% decrease in emotional symptoms, 34% decrease in peer problems, 32% decrease in conduct problems, 31% decrease in hyperactivity, full letter grade improvement. I mean, on and on and on. And it's simply because you're getting, like you said, you're getting to the heart itself. It's not just head knowledge. It's actually getting to the heart and changing the heart. So powerful stuff. Encourage folks to check that out. If it's not in your local school and you'd like to be a part of that, can they contact you and try to find ways to bring it to their area?
Most certainly. We are always looking for ambassadors who really believe in what we're teaching. And, what we really are doing is we're bringing the biblical principles, which we know is the only answer. It's the only answer to school and only answer for us or society, right? And so that's really what we do, is we really bring the biblical principles into the schools. And our program is used in private, parochial, Christian schools and public schools. And it is just amazing. As you said, those results that you quoted were from a research study that was conducted, independent research study, university study that was conducted on the effectiveness of what we do. And those results were found, in the public schools.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And just like you say on the website, the challenge that's out there. I mean, 43% of teachers saying they spend more time trying to keep order than actually teaching, and it's obviously a huge problem in our schools. And so anyway, it's a great. I know that's not what we're supposed to be talking about today. I apologize for getting you on a rabbit trail there, but I was just so intrigued by that.
I'll always talk about manners of the heart. It's my purpose. It is my purpose, my calling. It's the reason I'm here. I firmly believe that.
Good stuff. Well, our listeners are very active folks, so I know you're going to get some calls of folks wanting to bring that into their local school districts, whether private or public. But the books now, the books are actually going to give parents, grandparents, uncles and aunts, anybody, an opportunity to bring it into their home and actually begin to teach these principles. What age would you say? I mean, for these illustrated books, I mean, this is like a lap book, right? I mean, you could take a little one that's 2 years old and sit them in your lap and read through this.
Absolutely. The illustrations are just wonderful. They're colorful and very engaging. And I'll have to mention to the illustrator, because it's everything we do at Manners of the Heart always comes back down to the heart. It truly does, because that's what Scripture teaches us. And the illustrator for this, you feel it in her illustrations. These are hand-drawn, hand-colored illustrations. They are not computer-generated illustrations.
And they're very good, by the way. And people might be saying, boy, is this one of those low quality? No, I'm sitting here flipping through the book right now. It's actually very, very good.
Oh, don't you love the parade?
Yes.
I just love the 4th of July parade.
I like the military uniforms. They pop. I mean, she did a great job on that. I didn't even mention the name of the book, Little Patriot with a Big Heart. That's the name of the book, by the way, folks.
Yeah. And I'll give the storyline. Let me give the storyline without giving it away.
Hey, I tell you what, Jill, hold 1 second. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Right.
Folks, check out the website, mannersoftheheart.org. And then also, Jill, as we go to break, for the book itself, or the series of books, the Maryville Stories, same website, or do they go somewhere else for those?
Yeah, no, they can go straight to our website. That's great.
All right, that's excellent. Mannersoftheheart.org. That makes it easy. Folks, we'll have a link today for you at wallbuilderslive.com. Stay with us. Jill is our guest today. We're talking about Little Patriot with a Big Heart. You're going to want to get this for the little ones in your life. Be right back here on WallBuilders Live.
This is David Barton with another moment from America's history. Around 1790, the infamous Thomas Paine wrote his Age of Reason, attacking religion and Christianity. Interestingly, one of the strongest defenders against Paine's attack was Benjamin Franklin. In fact, he stiffly rebuked Paine and told him, "He that spits in the wind spits in his own face." Do you imagine any good would be done by this attack against religion? Think how great a portion of mankind consists of youth who have need of the motives of religion to restrain them from vice, to support their virtue. I would advise you not to attempt unchaining the tiger, but to burn this piece before it is seen by any other person. If men are so wicked with religion, what would they be if without it? Benjamin Franklin believed that the practice of religion was one of the greatest assets of American society.
For more information on God's hand in American history, contact WallBuilders at 1-800-8REBUILD.
Let the torch of freedom burn.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us here on WallBuilders Live. We're talking about Little Patriot with a Big Heart. It's a great tool for you to begin to teach those little ones in your life the principles of patriotism. Jill Rigby Garner is the author of the book with her husband, Nick, and the illustrator is Catherine Mills, and it's all part of Manners of the Heart. The website is called mannersoftheheart.org. Jill, sorry to cut you off as we went to break. You were about to tell me kind of how you came up with the story and what the storyline is.
Yes, one of the lessons in our curriculum, toward the end of the curriculum, actually toward the end of the year, is about respecting your country. And we give children, like I said, 5-day-a-week instruction in how to go about respecting your country, what it looks like from your attitude to your actions. And so the story was written around that idea of a little patriot with a big heart. And the storyline has Grandpa living in Maryville who is playing checkers. I mean, it's as old-fashioned as it gets. We're trying to get them off of the technology, and get them back to the real stuff. Anyway, they're playing a game, and Grandpa asked Jack to go and get something out of his closet, to retrieve something from his closet. And so when he goes to find it, he finds all these boxes. and one of the boxes was full of pictures of men in uniform and standing by jeeps, and they were very old pictures. And so when he asked Grandpa about it, of course, Grandpa becomes very touched by his questions and begins telling Jack about his time in the war, and the old war. And anyway, begins sharing in all the stories about the war. And Jack says, Grandpa, you were a hero. And he says, no, I wasn't a hero. Those men that gave their lives in wartime, they were the real heroes. They were the patriots. And so Jack says, well, what exactly is a patriot? And the rest of the book is all about Grandpa telling Jack what it means to be a patriot. And Jack says, Grandpa, but I want to be a patriot too. Will you teach me? And so the ending of the book is Grandpa teaching Jack how to be a patriot and how Jack responds to it. And I won't give away the end, but the end is precious.
It's great, and it's incredibly well done. And then you even have tips at the end on how to raise a patriot. Jill, how early is too early to begin to teach our children what it means to be a patriot?
As soon as they're able to walk and talk, in my opinion. It's never too young to begin to instill respect, in our children. It's never too young. I think the book is best designed for 2 to 2.5-year-olds, and it doesn't take long. I would think by the age of 7 to 8, the children can begin to read the book for themselves as well, too. So, and they can even begin to read it to the younger sibling at that point. But it's really an introduction. I'm glad you mentioned, too, the 10 ways to raise a patriot, because that is an important part in the back of the book as well, real concrete, practical ways to go about instilling patriotism in your children. And also, I was going to mention that the book will become one in the series of 12 Maryville Stories books. And through those books, the children are introduced to all the characters, Jack and Tommy and Caroline and all his friends, as well as the characters of Maryville, Wise Old Wilburs and the Owl, and that instills wisdom in the kids, and Peter and Penelope are little raccoons, and Buddy and Bully are twin bulldogs. The only trouble with Bully is he hasn't found his heart yet, and Buddy wears his heart on the outside for all to see. That's how we address the Buddy and Bully issue. It's that the troubles we see on the outside with kids are a direct result of the struggles they're having on the inside in their hearts. And so, anyway, as we go through the series, the children are introduced to it all.
Good stuff, Jill. Now, this is right to, no pun intended, to the heart of the matter of what's happening in our country. It's not, patriotism is not something that happens by accident. Understanding freedom doesn't happen by accident. A kid born in America will make you just as good a communist as one born in Beijing or Moscow. They've got to be taught what it means to be a patriot and what freedom's all about. This is so great to do this from a young age and to instill this. I'm already I got a nephew in mind right now that's right in that age group that I want to get this book to. I appreciate what y'all are doing, Jill. We at WallBuilders appreciate it very much because you're starting them at a young age, and that's what's got to happen. So we want to get the word out there and get folks to go check it out. mannersoftheheart.org is the website. Jill, before I let you go, give me some good news of what you're seeing based on the results of students going through the curriculum or reading the books. I mean, what do you envision the impact this having?
The impact that we're seeing and that we know and believe will be yet to come is we can turn around this next generation. And, this next generation, they're starving and they are hungry for the truth, the absolute truth, because they look at our generation and the generation preceding us, and they see that all the stuff and the money and all the quest for everything that we've gone about hasn't brought about true happiness, right, because it's really robbed us of our joy. And it's all been a diversion from what the real stuff and what really makes life good. And they're ready, they're hungry, and they want to bring our country back. And it's just amazing to me to see the young children and the first, second, and third graders who just gravitate to Manners of the Heart. And what's so beautiful, even when it's going into homes that have no interest in this and homes that are lost and broken and confused, that's where we really are beginning to see a tremendous impact. The children receive the truth and hold on to it, and take it, and it's almost as if it shines, well, it shines a very bright light into the darkness they're living in, and they so clearly see the wrongness of what they're being taught and what they're hearing in our culture today, and they gravitate back toward the message that we have, and they're in turn impacting their homes. We get those testimonies frequently. So
Powerful.
we're going to keep going, because we do know that manners of the heart is the answer our society needs today.
I love it. Absolutely great. God bless you for what you're doing. The book is called Little Patriot with a Big Heart, written by Nick Garner and Jill Rigby Garner, and it's illustrated by Catherine Mills. You can get it at mannersoftheheart.org. And also, as we talked about earlier in the program, that curriculum can be brought to your local school district as well. And I forgot to ask, Jill, I assume the same thing can be used with a homeschool family. Is there a way to buy the curriculum and use it if you're just single family?
I'm so glad you brought that up. We frequently attend homeschool conferences, and I frequently speak. I speak around the country as well, and I do speak a lot at homeschool conferences. And it's a wonderful fit. It's really terrific in a co-op. It works really well in a co-op group, as well as directly, working at home. We also have Manners of the Heart at the Table, which is 10 weeks of lessons specifically for the table. Specifically
if
for
my
etiquette.
wife hears this, she's going to want me to go through that one. So she's been after me to improve my table manners. So
well, it's hard to teach children table manners when they don't see any. Oh,
Ouch. Okay, this interview's up. No, I'm just kidding. That's great. No, I mean that's so needed. It's
very true,
this still reminds me of Wilberforce, and his number 2 goal after ending slavery was a return to manners in England. So what you're doing is so needed, Jill. I wish we had more time. I encourage folks to visit the website, get this in your home, your community. Now I got to go get the table manner one, or I'm going to be in trouble with my wife. So thanks, Jill. Appreciate you.
Like I said, it's my calling and my passion, and I will just say, just shout out to please help us. Please help us bring this message, spread it far and wide, and bring it into your local schools. And I mean, it's the answer. It's the answer we need. It's bringing biblical, godly principles back into the thread work of our society. And we know that's the only hope.
Amen. Good stuff. Mannerstheheart.org. Jill, thanks for coming on with us today.
Thank you so much, Rick.
Stay with us, folks. Back in a moment with David Barton. Have you ever wanted to learn more about the United States Constitution, but just felt like, man, the classes are boring, or it's just that old language from 200 years ago, or I don't know where to start? People want to know, but it gets frustrating because you don't know where to look for truth about the Constitution either. Well, we've got a special program for you available now called Constitution Alive with David Barton and Rick Green, and it's actually a teaching done on the Constitution at Independence Hall, in the very room where the Constitution was framed. We take you both to Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty, and Independence Hall, and to the WallBuilders Library, where David Barton brings the history to life to teach the original intent of our founding fathers. We call it the Quick Start Guide to the Constitution because in just a few hours through these videos, you will learn the Citizen's Guide to America's Constitution. You'll learn what you need to do to help save our constitutional republic. It's fun, it's entertaining, and it's going to inspire you to do your part to preserve freedom for future generations. It's called Constitution Alive with David Barton and Rick Green. You can find out more information on our website now at wallbuilders.com.
Let the torch of freedom burn.
Welcome back to WallBuilders Live, back with David Barton now. David, essential for us to start early if we want those principles to take hold.
Well, we've got a 1-year-old with us. We've got, of course, 2 kids in the military, and one of them right now is out in the field, and so we got the daughter at home. And we got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old at home with us, and 1-year-old is fully into saying please and thank you and sir and ma'am. Same with the 3-year-old. You just can't start too young on that kind of stuff. As soon as they learn to listen or hear words, they need to be hearing those words, which means you have to say those words. But don't think that manners are just for kids. I mean, it's for all of us. One of the cool things that I did was read George Washington's 110 Rules of Civility, and I don't care what age you are, you can learn a lot out of that. Here's just some. He said, don't show yourself glad at the misfortune of anyone else, even though he's your enemy. And he says, take all admonitions thankfully in whatever time or place given. So if somebody rebukes you, take it in and listen to it. He said, associate yourself with men of good quality if you esteem your reputation, for it is better to be alone than in bad company. Here's one. Never express anything unbecoming. Here's one. When you speak of God or his attributes, let it be seriously. I mean, you just keep going through this stuff, and that's manners, and they're for adults as well as for kids. We used to get this in school. We don't get this in school anymore. We used to get it in our community. It used to be that, folks who live beside you would make you say sir and ma'am and thank you and please to them as well as your parents. So we need to recover this, because it really does teach you to think about other people and not be selfish. That's what manners is about, is not being selfish. And so what Jill's got here, the curriculum, man, folks really need to look into that curriculum. Get it for your school, or get it for your Sunday school, by the way. Get it for your church, or get it for your own kids. Even if your kids are in public school, do it at home with them. So this is good stuff, and it's a great way to get kids started out, is on manners.
We'll have links today for you at WallBuilders Live to make it easy on you. I'd throw out to all you coaches out there, if you're coaching youth sports, soccer or basketball, baseball, whatever it is, take advantage of that opportunity to instill some of these manners in the kids that you get a chance to spend time with. So it's neat, David. You watch when they come in first practice and everybody's and yeah, and within just a short period of time, you'll find them, so if you do it right, you'll get them saying yes sir and no sir, and they take that home, and parents are amazed. It actually works. So let's make it happen in our lives and in the lives of those around us. Thanks for listening today. Hope you'll do something with the program you heard today here on WallBuilders Live.
We stand under